I want to tell you a story today, a real one, because sometimes the way God steps into your life is so personal and so unexpected, you simply cannot keep it to yourself. This happened on a day when everything inside me felt shaky and uncertain. It was the day Bear, my dog, had 4 seizures. 4! The first one didn't really concern me because I'd seen him have other seizures. The second one made me start to be concerned. By the time the third and the fourth hit, something in me knew I had to get him to the hospital. I picked him up, we got into the car, and I started praying as we drove straight to the ER. When we arrived, the vet was gentle. They examined him and explained what was happening with a calm voice that helped me breathe for just a moment. They gave him medication. They told me to take him home. And even though I was scared, I honestly believed he would be all right. I believed God was watching over us. I believed we were going to get through this. But we had not been home for even an hour before another seizure hit. My heart dropped. The hope I'd been clinging to just fell apart in an instant. I rushed him back to the ER, and this time they placed me in a small room. A different vet walked in with a serious expression. He looked at me and said, "We need to keep him overnight. Here's the cost." I stared at that paper. I didn't have that kind of money. Not even close. And then he said some words that broke something deep inside of me. "If you can't pay, we need to put him down." I collapsed emotionally. Did not just cry, I sobbed. I was hysterical. That kind of sobbing that shakes your whole body. I could not breathe. I could not think. I honestly felt like I might fall to the floor. I stayed in that little room for a few minutes, trying to find enough strength to stand. When I finally gathered myself, I walked out, still sobbing, through the waiting room, out the front door, barely able to see, barely able to breathe, just trying to get outside. All I could pray was, "Help, God, please help." Even in my panic, something inside me would not give up hope. I kept thinking, there has to be an answer. And with that, everything shifted into the next part of the story, a part I never saw coming. While I was outside, still crying, still shaking, I called a friend. I could hardly speak. He stayed on the phone with me. He stayed through the tears, through the gasping, through the fear. He stayed until my body stopped shaking enough for me to breathe again. And then he told me he would help. For a moment, hope rose inside of me. But under that hope was the knot in my stomach. I kept thinking, how am I ever going to pay him back? I did not know what else to do. I only knew I could not lose Bear. I wiped my face and walked back inside the waiting room. Still shaken, still trying to hold myself together, I started toward the front desk, trying to figure out what I was going to say and how to manage what felt so impossible. And then, out of nowhere, an older woman walked straight up to me. She did not ask what was wrong. She already knew. While I had been outside falling apart, the staff had told her what was happening. So she came towards me with a calm, steady, gentle presence and looked me right in the eyes. Her first words to me were simple and unbelievable. She said, "I will pay for it." I was in shock. I told her, "It's expensive," almost as if to protect her, as if I probably could not accept something so big. But she did not blink. She did not hesitate. She walked up to the front desk, pulled out her credit card, and then told them she was paying for the entire bill. $2,800. The staff stood there stunned. They said they'd never seen anything like it. And I was overwhelmed. My first thought was, Is this for real? Then a wave of gratitude so strong took my breath away. And then, how could I ever show her how thankful I am? I hugged her twice, maybe 3 times. I could not help it. I was standing in the middle of a miracle, and she was the one God used to deliver it. Because of her, Bear was able to stay full time that he needed. He got through it. He recovered. He came home. And what I did not realize in that moment was that the miracles were not finished yet. A friend I have known for many years, someone who has always loved animals, later paid for Bear's medication for months. It was one blessing after another, one reminder after another that God was not just aware of our situation, He was actively in the middle of it. When I came home that night with Bear, I sat there holding him, feeling the quiet settle back into the room. And in that stillness, I knew, without any doubt, that God has been with me every moment of that day. He cared, not just about me, but about Bear, about my fear, about the weight I could not carry, about the moment I felt like I could not take another breath. I knew it was a miracle. And I told people about it because when God moves like that, you cannot keep quiet. You have to let others know that He is in the details, still in the timing, still in the whispers of hope that come exactly when you feel like you're falling apart. Sometimes God sends peace. Sometimes He sends clarity. Sometimes He sends strength. And sometimes He sends a stranger. A woman who does not know your name, who does not know your story, who owes you nothing, but who hears the whisper from God and steps in at the exact moment your world feels like it's collapsing. That day taught me something I will never forget. God sees every detail. He knows when you cannot carry something on your own, and He will send help from places you never expected, even in panic, even in fear, even in those moments when your only prayer is, "Help, God!" He is already moving. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. You're never carrying your hardest moments alone. Thank you for listening to my story today. And if you ever wondered whether God still steps into the middle of a real life, real fear, and real breaking points, let this be your reminder that He does. Every single day in ways we sometimes do not see it until the storm passes. If this story encouraged you, I would love for you to stay connected. You can subscribe for more faith-filled stories, relationship wisdom, and reminders that you're never alone walking through this life. God is closer than you think, and He's always working, even when you cannot see it.